As the temporary chairman of the caucus, I would like to welcome each of you and commend you for participating in this convention, whether it is your first time or whether you have been several times. Our caucus is governed by the Texas Election Code, rules of the Republican Party of Texas, Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, and the convention supplemental rules. None of these rules can be suspended by the caucus. If you have any questions about the rules as we proceed, please rise to the point of information and I will try to answer your questions, or my parliamentarian will help me. This is the first of 2 senatorial district caucuses to be held at this convention under the convention supplemental rules. The purpose of our meeting this afternoon is to elect a permanent caucus chairman and a representative from our senatorial district to serve on 4 permanent convention committees. At the second caucus tomorrow morning, we will make our nominations for the office of state chairman and state vice chairman and elect a state executive committee man and committee woman. At this time, the chair appoints Sherry Wyatt to serve as temporary secretary and asks Olga Lasher to assist the secretary as needed. The chair also appoints the following members to assist the chair in organizing the caucus. David Duncan will be the parliamentarian, and Steve Jarvis will be the sergeant at arms, and Reed Lewis will be the assistant sergeant at arms. We will now proceed to establish from the voting members of the caucus. The secretary, okay, one moment. Mr. Head Teller, will you please come forward? David, can you come here, please? Mr. Sergeant at Arms, will you please seat the alternates? Starting at the number 1 and going up to the positions available.
All right, we have 125 provincial delegates registered. Alternate 1, James Gaddis, come check in. Alternate 2, Charlene Morris. Just come up and sign in with me when I call your name. Carl Kamara. J.D. Wheelis. Thomas Sedbury. Michael Sullivan. Matthew Makovian. Brandon Steinhauser. Leslie Shelton. Robert Andrews. Jane Andrews. John Dennis. David Rogers. Cara Ramsey. John Todd. Nancy Shive. Tommy Coleman. Gary Markham. I get John Brody. Joyce Cunningham. Kendall Birch. Brian Birch. Ellen Hughes. Patricia Tesnow. Teresa Pennington. Kurt Tesnow. David Featherston. Barbara Carter. Diane Johnson. Janice Perry. Carl Rhodes. George Brenner. Carl Conley. Edwin Mallory. Mark Pollard. Julie Pollard. Luther Parker. Mary Parker. Nicholas Taylor. Marcia Miller.
Okay, it's still more or less.
Marcia Miller. Jeffrey McLennan. Larry Morris. Nancy Calhoun. Actually, it would be easier for those present to just come up here and we'll get the sign.
I'm Congressman Blake Farrell. I represent the 27th District of Texas, which goes from Bastrop to Corpus Christi. I'm happy to be here, but mainly I am happy you are here. Listen, you guys are the ones that are leading the charge to keep Texas red and turn America red, especially our Senate. Listen, you guys are investing your time, your money, and your effort to help Texas and help America. You are the tip of the spear in our fight to turn the Senate Republican and the U.S. Senate Republican, keep the House Republican, and set the stage for a Republican president in 2016. The work we're doing here is going to make that happen, and I want to say thank you, because we have got to get America back on the right path. We've got to keep the American dream alive. I say the American dream is about hard work. It's about starting out as a busboy in a restaurant and ending up owning that restaurant, or better yet, a chain of restaurants. And that's what you guys are here doing today. You're investing the hard work in our Republican Party. I can't thank you enough for doing it. God bless you. God bless America. God bless Texas. Y'all do a great job. Thank you.
They are tallying the total delegates, so just one moment. The temporary caucus secretary will now read the numbers.
Madam Chair, there are 166 delegates present with a combination voting strength of 239, and the total number of delegates attending at the start of the caucus meeting is 166.
Thank you. So the order of business today, as specified in the convention supplemental rules, calls for the caucus to elect a permanent caucus chairman, appoint a permanent secretary, and elect a representative to 4 permanent convention committees, which are platform, rules, credentials, and nominations. Nominations are now in order for permanent chairman of this caucus. The person elected will also serve as chairman of the caucus tomorrow and as the senatorial district delegation leader on the convention floor. The floor is now open for nominations.
I would like to nominate Terry Flo as permanent caucus chair.
Terry Cole has been nominated. Are there other nominations?
I want to second that.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, so since there are no other nominations, all those in favor of Terry Flo being permanent chairman, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. Terry Flo has been elected the permanent chairman. Okay. So now, the next item of business is I will be appointing the permanent officers. The chair is pleased to name Sherry White as the permanent secretary of the caucus. And David Duncan will be our parliamentarian. The next item of business is the election of the permanent committee members. But first, we will have each person that served on those committees, which have been going on through this week, to actually come up, and they have up to 5 minutes to tell us what they have been doing in those committees. But before we do that, I'm going to ask Randy Samuelson to please come up.
I just want to say a very quick thank you to the 4 people who served on the temporary committees throughout the week, and a lot of the work they've done over the last month in some cases. Credentials Committee was Joe Petronas. Rules Committee was Derek Van Gilder from Bastrop County. The Resolutions Committee was TJ Scott. The Organization Committee is Kim Chambers. I just want to say thank you for your hard work and your dedication over the last month preparing the meeting. A very quick announcement as well. Tomorrow morning in the caucus here, we'll be collecting for the Candidate Resource Committee of the State Republican Executive Committee. We'll be collecting cash donations or check donations. These will go to support our local candidates at the county level and below for Justice of the Peace, County Commissioner, County Judge, some of those races. And if you want to donate, we would please welcome you to do so tomorrow morning. And I'll have the envelopes and all the information tomorrow morning in the caucus starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. Thank you very much.
So I'm going to actually go in the order of allowing the people that are going to be speaking, the people that Randy just announced, based on the order of how we're going to be doing the votes based on their position. So the first vote that we will be taking will be platform. So TJ Scott, since you've been serving on the temporary committee, if you would please come up and give a 5-minute summary.
Can you hear me now? Hi, my name's TJ Scott. First of all, there's about 280 of us in here. I have 240 email addresses, and for the last 4 or 5 days I've been sending out emails to all 240. 15 of them have been coming back. So 225 of you should have gotten emails and to tell you what has been happening on the platform committee since I started. The rest of you, but I'm going to go over it anyway. We started meeting on Monday, and Monday at noon, I was put on the Preserving American Freedom, the Preserving American Freedom section subcommittee. We met and there was 5 people on that committee. We went through line by line of 707 different resolutions that came from your SD, RSD there, the SDs, all over SDs. So there were 707 resolutions that came, and those were just for the 1/6 of the platform. So we went through those line by line, agreed with some, disagreed with some, and we put them in a report that on Wednesday morning we turned into or Tuesday night we turned into the main platform committee. So Wednesday morning, the platform committee met as a whole, and then we went through line by line everything that's in the temporary platform committee report. This is out there. If you got my email, if there's a link to how you could get this. If you didn't get my email, ask somebody sitting next to you. It's out there now. I put it out there about 2 o'clock this afternoon when I finally got it. This is the committee report that we will start with tonight at 7 o'clock. Whoever is on the permanent platform committee will sit down at 7 o'clock tonight. There's going to be testimony for probably 45 minutes, maybe an hour of public testimony, and then that will cease, and the platform committee, the permanent platform committee, will then go through everything in here line by line, get it up or down with an end time certain. I think the end time certain is 10 o'clock. That might have been pushed back to 11. That's basically what we've done and what's going to happen after this. There's a couple contentious things. The Texas solution. You'll see a bunch of people wearing no amnesty. There's probably going to be a minority report on that. I've met this afternoon, and if you send me back, then I'll be helping put together a minority report that is against the Texas solution that was passed last year. I expect the medical marijuana to get another vote. That vote was tied, and the reason medical marijuana got into this document was because the chairman voted for it, because it was a tie. I expect that to be another contentious vote tonight. So that's what's going on in the platform committee. Is someone keeping time?
Yes.
Okay. So, real quick, that's what's happening. Does anybody got any quick questions I might be able to answer? I saw your hand first.
Okay, you said 7 o'clock, what location?
7 o'clock in room 1 in room 110, down here on the first floor, 110. Yes, sir.
Is a copy of this current platform posted anywhere in the convention?
No, not to the best of my knowledge.
How can somebody read it before 7 o'clock if they don't have an internet?
There's no way to do that I know of. So, all right. Thank you very much.
Do you get one more question from that
Oh, I'm
gentleman?
sorry. Yes, sir.
Did you say amnesty had been passed by the resolutions committee?
No. The amnesty is not, there's no such thing as quote amnesty, okay? The Texas solution from last time was rewritten, but there is still they don't call it guest worker program anymore like they did last time. Now they're calling it a provisional visa for people that are here illegally. And that portion got into this temporary platform committee report. It's like the Texas, it's like the guest worker program, but it's now called a provisional visa system to give people here illegal already a way to become legal, giving them legal status. Does that answer the question?
And that's still up in air, opposition to it, what?
Well, whoever the permanent platform committee will debate it again tonight. It is my guess that it's going to stay in there, that the people that are against it, like me, there won't be enough of us. But right now, there's 7 of us, and that's all, at least 7 of us, and that's all we need for a minority report, and there's a minority report written if we have the votes to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, one more thing.
One more thing. I want to thank Randy and Davita for putting me on the committee.
Next, we will have rules, which is Derek Van Gilder.
Well, I was waiting for Texas Fight to come on, but it didn't. Actually, Steve Ministerio was a law school classmate of mine, so I figured I could do that. First off, I want to thank our chairman of our committee, who did great work throughout the whole time. And everyone should probably know this individual by the name of Bill Crocker. Where are you, Bill? And we also have someone who was our secretary, who's sitting in here right now too, and he's going to law school. Ben, would you stand up? I'll tell you what, Butch Davis was our parliamentarian who kept us all in line, and I want to thank all 3 of them, as well as the staff that were there. This was a really great experience for me. It was my first time on a rules committee, but I'll tell you, it was an invaluable experience. Although I have to say, I was trying to figure out why we spent 20 minutes debating over whether it should be or and, but we did that. Anyway, we have like 19 pages of rules that we have amended in one part or another. Some have not been changed at all. And there have been additions, deletions, and when I say 19 pages, it's about, well, it's 43 rules, but several of them have Part A's to it. And these rules govern everything from all conventions and meetings to general rules for all conventions, precinct conventions, and senatorial district conventions, and then finally the state conventions. And we have tried to, as a rules committee, come in with adoptions and that we believe are up to date. And one of the most critical things that we've done, though, is go to a system where we'll have 25% of our delegates to the national convention being at large. And that was one of the things that our chairman, Steve Ministerio, as well as other people, I believe Bill Crocker was involved in that too, where with this idea and that bringing in March 1st as our primary for the next presidential election, we will have a big say in who the presidential nominee is. And thanks to all those people who got that approved, and it was our committee that put it into these rules that try to help that. There are a lot of other things that I encourage you all to kind of go through them, and it's very important that these rules are met. Hopefully we will not have as much of a contentious situation tonight, but I will say ours is at 8 o'clock tonight, not at 7 as the platform committee. Ours permanent committee meeting will start at 8 o'clock and it'll be in room 100, which is directly below this one. So if you have an opportunity to attend, I'd really appreciate it, because all the input from any of the delegates would be greatly appreciated. I want to thank Randy and DeVito also for allowing me to be on this committee. Sort of a last-minute replacement for another individual, but it has been a very valuable experience, and I want to thank you all for that. I try to get away. Yes, sir.
Often the issue of term limits comes up.
Yes.
Is that coming up this time?
We did not modify anything in that the term limits in terms of what, though?
Well, I guess the executive director, the chair, the vice chair, committee man, committee woman, SRAC man, SRAC woman, have any of those term limits been modified?
I do not believe they were. I have to admit, I was gone for a couple hours on Wednesday morning. We started at noon on Monday and went through till about 10 o'clock last night. But I had a hearing in Denton County on Wednesday morning, and I did miss a few hours of it. So, Bill? No change. Thank you. That was part that I missed. Thank you very much.
Anything else? Thank you.
Petronas come up and speak about the Credentials Committee.
Hi, I'm Joe Petronas. I was part of the Temporary Credentials Committee. So it's the first time on the credential side. It's a very eye-opening experience, so I've got to learn a lot. Luckily, this is more of a governor year as opposed to a presidential year, so there weren't really too many contentious issues. There were, however, in Cameron County, 4 challenges. And kind of the gist of it, and Cameron County is kind of Brownsville, South Padre area. And the gist of it was, can people that will probably be on temporary committees get together and kind of do a bunch of pre-work behind closed doors, not vote on anything, but do a bunch of pre-work. Then, once they're on the permanent committee, go in there, say, hey, here's the report, vote on the report, call me to order, here's the report, vote on the report, pass that report, and then send it on. So basically, their open portion of the meeting was 10 to 15 minutes long. And so, according to the rules, though, there was no rule was violated with that, because they weren't doing business while they were in the closed-door session. So from my personal opinion, this is something that future rules committees, future SRAC members may want to look at to modify those rules. Next, we had some contests, and there are 2 different types. One was sending too many delegates. So, they had a roster, let's say they had 8 delegate slots, but they had 9 names listed. This I found also interesting because the rules don't really tell us how to remedy it. What they say is, you have to figure out, they can only have a maximum of 8, so you have to strike one of them. Unlike alternates, delegates aren't listed in rank. So again, I think this is something that future rules committee may want to look at, is saying, hey, put your delegates in rank order as well. That way if you put too many, it's much easier to figure out which one to strike. The other thing is, it doesn't give us the ability to take a delegate and move them to an open alternate slot. So we struck 3 or 4 people while there are still available alternate slots. Some of them came back today and said, whoa, that was just a typo. It really shouldn't have said delegate, it really should have said alternate. So we were able to reinstate them. But it was very eye-opening just seeing what was happening. And then finally today what we did was, as people were signing in, there were some people that had issues. Some people that, according to their credential, they were alternate, but according to the county, they should have been a delegate. So playing with those issues, trying to figure out, okay, should they really be a delegate status, should they be alternate? And then the other wrinkle with this is, if they are made a delegate, does that then put them kind of with an overage of having too many delegates? So I think in the future, these are different things that the Rules Committee can help look at, and SRAC, to figure out, give us a little bit more structure on what the Credentials Committee can do. But it was a great experience, and look forward, I asked for your vote to be on the permanent Credentials Committee. We're meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. Not really sure what all we're going to be doing, because most of our work is pretty much done, but look forward to joining that. Are there any questions? Cool. Well, thank you all very much.
They also want to recognize Kim Chambers. She served on the organization committee, which her business was actually, hers was a permanent committee, and it was finalized when we elected Steve Munisteri, Chairman Munisteri, as the chairman of the convention today. So Kim, thank you also for your work. We are now going to start voting for the permanent committees to be selected. The chair requests that those who wish to make nominations be allowed to do so. Therefore, the chair will not accept any motion to close nominations until it is obvious there are no further nominations forthcoming. Only then will the chairman close nominations. At this time, we will now elect our member to the platform committee. This committee will propose the wording of the platform to be considered by the entire convention. The floor is now open for nominating a member to the platform committee.
Madam Chairman?
Yes, please state your name and state.
Mike McNamara.
Yes, sir.
And I rise with great pleasure to nominate Matt McCoy.
Matt McCoviak's name has been written down. Ma'am?
Madam Chairman, I would like to nominate my precinct chair, T.J. Scott.
T.J. Scott, his name has been added. Yes, sir.
I nominate Ray Marr. Lynn Foster.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for the platform committee? So Matt Makoviak, TJ Scott, and Ray Marr have been nominated. At this time, each candidate shall have an opportunity to speak or to have someone speak on their behalf. Each candidate shall have 3 minutes for nominating speeches. If I could have each of those individuals or a representative to come up, because the rules were changed this year from my understanding to where you actually draw lots and it's not to be spoken, they do not speak in the order that they were actually nominated. So if I could have either that gentleman or a representative to please come up. You're drawing a number, TJ. There's going to be a 1, there's going to be a 2, and there's going to be a 3, and that's going to determine who's speaking when. I'm still short, but you guys can try. Okay, so TJ will be speaking first. Who's number 2? Matt Makoviak will be speaking second, and Ray Marr will be speaking third. So each person has 3 minutes.
Yes, I'm going to have Randy speak 30 seconds for me, and Jan, Maria. Janice can speak after you, and then I'll take the last minute.
Thank you very much. My name is Randy Samuelson. I'm the SRAC Committee Man for SD14. I'm here to proudly nominate TJ Scott for the Resolutions Committee to a permanent committee position. Earlier this week I gave a presentation to the Resolutions Committee about how to make the platform more readable for legislators, how to make it more concise, how to make it formatted better to be more effective and more relevant to the legislature. And TJ is 100% behind that goal to make it more relevant to the actual policy making of the entire state. And I support TJ in those efforts, and I'm glad he's done a very fine job in those efforts over the past week, over the past month, in this hard work. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jan Duncan, and I don't get up very often to speak, but for TJ, I'm up here. And there's a reason he's been working really hard this week. We've been here all week. We've watched him. We've talked to him. When we had a question, he stopped, he answered, he sent out the emails. He's really stood up for all of us. And I think at this point, we need to stick who we've been with and stay with TJ. Thanks.
Bottom line is, I think most of you in here in the room know me. I wish I knew more people from Bastrop. I know some of you. And you know exactly where. One thing you can't say is you don't know what TJ thinks, because everybody pretty much knows what TJ thinks, and you know how I'm going to vote. And vote your conscience. If the Texas solution is going to be a big thing, I am 100% against allowing people that are in the country legally to have any kind of legal status. I'll vote against medical marijuana. And, oh, 2 other things that I forgot to tell you that I got put in the platform, and I hope you like them. One is that I put it in the platform that we should elect our Speaker of the House instead of having chosen. So just like we do the Lieutenant Governor, who is the President of the Senate, is basically the same job as the Speaker of the House. So I got in the platform that we have a constitutional amendment to elect the Speaker of the House, and also I added in the platform that the property taxes, as long as we have property taxes, that your house should, the cost you paid for your house when you purchased it, that should always be how much you have to pay property tax for. So what that happens is If you bought your house a long time ago and now it's worth $1 million, you only have to pay property tax on it was. So if you want me to go back to do the platform committee and be there from 7 o'clock to midnight tonight, I'll be more than happy to do it. If you want me to go party, send me a party.
Matt Makoviak.
Thank you, Terry. It's my honor to be here with you all. Thank you, Mike, for your generous nomination. My name is Matt Makoviak. I've lived in Austin, Texas since 1984 when I was 4 years old. Over the last few years, I've gotten involved in the Travis County Republican Party. I'm the incoming vice chair with Chairman James Dickey. I've been a precinct chair. I'm a happy warrior. I'm a positive conservative. I know what I believe. I believe that we need to have people who can communicate and who understand where the mainstream of our party is, who can apply conservative principles in the current world that we live in. And so I'm not going to lecture you. I'm not going to be loud. I'm just someone who I think you can have confidence in, that you know will go there, represent your interests, represent this party. One thing we have to think about when we think about the platforms, it's not just about representing our views. We have people that are watching what our platform is because they want to use it against us. There are folks from the media that are here that want to write negative stories about the future of the Republican Party. The Democrats are here, Battleground Texas is here. I'm sure they're videotaping a lot of what's happening. And so, you know, we can get into some of these debates that make us feel good and make us feel like we're the most conservative person who's ever walked this earth. It doesn't do a lot of good for the Republican Party. It doesn't do a lot of good for the conservative movement. So for me, I believe in limited government. I believe in strong national security. I'm 100% pro-life. I'm a strong conservative on all the social issues. I'm with you on the issues, and I'd be honored to represent you on the permanent platform committee and put forward a platform that you can be proud of and that you believe represents the interests of the Republican Party and puts us in the best light for the 2014 election. Thank you.
And now, Ray Marr.
I'm going to speak for Ray first. I met Ray about 10 years ago working for the Austin Tow Party against toll roads. He's worked out to be a really good researcher, and I learned a lot from him. We have since then worked on immigration issues. I think SD 14 needs better representation on the platform committee, and TJ does not recognize that the phony job shortage touted for justifying the H-1B visa program is phony. So, and now I'll give you Ray because he can better describe his background.
I'm Ray Marr. I've been on 5 senatorial district platform committees and also 1 nominations committee. I've been living here in Travis County since 1988, the end of '88, and I've been involved since I guess I've been going to the conventions there since 1990. Look, first thing I want to say is that having served on 5 Senate District Resolutions Committees, I know how much trouble, how much work TJ has put into the job and how well he has extraordinarily communicated committee progress to SD 14. I appreciate and wish to commend him for all his good work, and it is good work. But I have expertise on issues of great importance that haven't yet been addressed in the platform. Issues I've been studying for many years now. The single most important reason for U.S. economic decline isn't even mentioned in the platform, and that has to do with the surrender of U.S. sovereignty over our own economy and many laws occasioned by U.S. accession to the World Trade Organization. We need to take our economy back. Instead of levying tariffs on the goods in retaliation for technological espionage, dumping, currency manipulation, Congress has been sniveling for several years about Chinese currency manipulation and seeking permission from WTO bureaucrats to let us retaliate for their actions. The accession agreement locked the United States into science, technology, engineering, and math work visas that give away every year another 800,000 man-years of U.S. jobs jobs that American kids and older Americans need to have, experience to have. We just can't do this. The WTO ruled, for example, that the Byrd Amendment, was illegal in 2002. The WTO gave the European Union permission to slap another 15% retaliatory tariff on U.S. goods atop a 17% value-added tax. And Congress then listened at that point, and we repealed the Byrd Amendment. There's no accident that Cuts for Clunkers helped mostly the Korean economy and Asian economies and not the U.S. economies, because the U.S. was forbidden to restrict the rebate for U.S. products. Thank you very much.
Now you will be voting. You shall vote by secure ballot. At this time, ballots will be distributed. Please write the name of the candidate you are voting for, then fold your ballot one time only. This will speed up the process of counting votes. Volunteers, I'm going to need volunteers from each of the 3 individuals that have been spoken to actually come up and watch the tally of the vote. So at the end of when the ballots are actually turned in, that's when I'm going to need those individuals to come forward. And so they're going to be passing out the ballots now.
Yes, that's what. Can I trust you to count the vote? Sure. Okay. Go count.
Don't forget your glasses.
Yes, I will do that. So, in the order, I'm going to state the names of the individuals again. The first person was TJ Scott. You spell Scott S-C-O-T-T. Matt Makowiak. You spell Makowiak, I'm just going to do the last name, M-A-C-K-O-W-I-A-K. And then the last gentleman was Ray Marr, and you spell Marr M-A-R-R. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Make elements voting for Matt Makowiak, basically Matt. A lot of people are having difficulty.
The past practice is that if you get close, so if you can, if you put Matt, that is fine. But please put more than one letter. From Bastrop County, and he's going to speak for just a few minutes while they're counting the ballots.
First of all, I want to thank everybody from Bastrop County that elected me to commissioner, and tell them I'm the first Hispanic commissioner elected in Bastrop County. Not only that, the first Republican Hispanic. I think Travis County is going to have to work real hard to get a Hispanic Republican. But it can be done. I ran 3 times, lost 3 times, so the 4th time I made it. I was elected in 2008, during the Obama era, and then I was re-elected in 2012, and I plan to run in 2016. And it's probably my last one. I'm getting that age already. I've been retired twice, retired as a lieutenant colonel in the Army. My first tour was enlisted. In 1967, as an enlisted man, 1 tour in Vietnam, and then when I was an old man, age 56, I was in Afghanistan. So, I decided to get into politics after I let go of my state government position and my military position. Then I can really say what I want to say. But I'm really, really proud to be a Republican, and most of all, being an American. This is the United States of America, and appreciate this country. My dad was a War II veteran. He passed away a few years ago. As a matter of fact, he passed away the year I was running for office in 2008. And then when I was running for re-election, my mother passed away. But my dad served in the Pacific, and so I'm real proud of my dad when he served, and we followed the footsteps in the military. And I appreciate you all, and with that, thank you for being here.
Pretty good commissioner, too.
And Mike McNamara is going to be running in Travis County, so if you'd like to come up and speak.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'll just take a couple of minutes. I appreciate so much being here, and thank you, all of you, for taking your time to participate in this process. I don't know how many of these I've been to. This is probably in the teens at this point. Started back in actually working in local politics in 77, 78 in the city of Austin. I'm running for Travis County Judge, and I want to emphasize to you folks that are in Travis County that this is a winnable situation. It's not about whether we can win, it's a must-win situation. We have an opponent who is going to take us in a horrible, horrible direction. So I want to impress upon you, it's all about traffic, it's about taxes, and it's about the bottom line, which is the budget. And I intend to get on the Commissioner's Court with Gerald Doherty and turn this county around. Think about this. Think about this. The County Commissioner's Court is in charge of the people that count your votes. And we need to get control of that Commissioner's Court. It is extremely important. Another thing to think about is we need to quit giving the Democrats a platform to launch their leftist, liberal folks into the ethosphere. They're using Travis County as a launching point for their little golden stars. So we need to nip those guys in the bud and look at the situation of getting 2 good Republicans on the Commissioner's Court. We can get 1 swing vote. There's only 5 people on the Commissioner's Court. We can make this happen. It's going to take some work. It's going to take resources, but we're building a team that can and will win. So God bless you, and thank you so much for being here. Mike McNamara.
Are there any more candidates or elected officials in the room? Yes, ma'am?
Hello, everybody. I'm Donovan Gilder. I am the Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1, Bastrop County. I am the first elected Republican to be the Justice of the Peace for Precinct 1 in the history of Bastrop County. When I ran, there were 4 other Republicans. I also did it without a runoff, which I was happy about. I did have an opponent this past election, or primary, but I was chosen to be the person who's going to go against the Democrat. I have to say that when they went to the Democrats, and I have a lot of friends that are Democrats, and they asked them to run, they said, no, she's doing a good job. We're not going to vote against her. They couldn't find anybody. The Democratic chairman, who used to be the Democratic chairman, decided, and also was my opponent's, my first opponent's campaign manager, is now running against me because they couldn't find anybody, so they had to have a Democratic chair. Well, what's kind of interesting is 3 Democratic chairs are actually supporting me. Past Democratic chairs against their own chairman. So, I look forward to a win in November. I've done every single thing that I said I was going to do when I took office. said I was going to put a website together so people could download the forms and not have to come up to the court to get eviction forms or small claims forms or anything else like that. So that's very important, especially for people who are coming to our courts. They don't have a lot of money, so that, I mean, we are a justice peace court. We are, however, none less important than a district court or a county court of law. Or a Supreme Court, well, maybe a little less. But the fact is that we affect people's lives right here on this level. It's not just a Class C court, it's $10,000 and below. So, I actually am also the director of, I'm a director out of 8 directors in the Justice of the Peace, Texas Justice of the Peace Judges Association. That's unheard of for somebody at my age in the first term to be elected. I am a director of Region 3. Let's see here. Oh yeah, the other promises. I also chose to teach classes on how to deal with the Justice of Peace courts. I teach eviction classes, I teach debt claim classes, I teach the public, I have lawyers that come in. So what's good about that is I've actually kept every promise I've ever made. So. Anyone in Bastrop Precinct 1, please tell them to vote for me because I really would like to continue doing the work that I am doing in my court. I enjoy it very much so. So thank you all.
Candidate TJ Scott received 110 votes. This is including the voting strength, the way that's tallied out. Matt Makoviak received 95 votes. Ray Marr received 34 votes. No candidate having received a majority, there will be a runoff election between candidates TJ Scott and Matt Makoviak. So now I need to have the pages, please come back. Candidate TJ Scott received 129 votes. Matthew Makoviak received 110 votes. Candidate TJ Scott is elected. Collect your form so that you can make it to the meeting in 20 minutes. Get signed and ready for you to go. One down, 3 to go. Oh, come on. The next election will be for the member of the Committee on Rules. This committee recommends amendments to the rules governing all conventions and meetings of the Republican Party of Texas. The floor is now open for nominating a member to the Rules Committee. Yes.
I would like to nominate Derek Van Gilder to be our member of the Rules Committee, and I would also like to add that the chair of the Rules Committee is also the secretary.
Other nominations for the Rules Committee, Permanent Rules Committee. Any other names for the Rules Committee? Okay. No, we have to. All of those, okay, so Derek Van Gilder has been, his name has been forward for the Rules Committee. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. Derek Van Gilder will be on the Rules Committee. Since you don't meet till 8 o'clock, can you let me get through the rest of this? Thank you. Okay. The next one that we will be voting on is the Credentials Committee. Okay. The final, okay, hold on one second, sorry. Yes, the final election will be for a member to the Credentials Committee. This committee will recommend the permanent role of the convention. The floor is now open for nominating a member to the Credentials Committee.
Randy Samuelson, SD14, I nominate Joe Petronas for Credentials.
Joe Petronis' name is now on the list. Are there any other nominees for credentials?
Madam Chairman, I move that we close nominations.
Okay, I get the hint. Joe Petronis' name is the one that has been put forth. All those in favor of Joe Petronis, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. Joe Petronis will be serving us on the credentials committee. There is one more election, I apologize. The last election today will be for a member to the State Nominations Committee. There is no temporary nominations committee. This committee recommends to the convention one nominee for the office of State Party Chairman and one nominee for the office of State Party Vice Chairman. Under Rule 41, the member elected to the nominations committee must support our senatorial district's recommendations on at least the first round of voting, which will happen tomorrow morning. Additionally, this committee reports our caucus choices for State Executive Committee man and Committee woman. The floor is now open for nominating a member to the State Nominations Committee. Yes, ma'am.
Chairman, this is on?
Yes.
Okay. Rosemary Edwards, Travis County. I would like to nominate Michelle Samuelson.
Michelle Samuelson's name is now on the list. Are there any other names? Seeing none other, all those in favor of Michelle Samuelson, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. Michelle Samuelson will be representing SD 14 on the Scotland State Nominations Committee.
See how easy that was?
Okay, let me see here. Okay, congratulations to the 4 delegates who will be representing this district on the permanent conventions committees. This is an honor and responsibility which we know you will take very seriously. Each of those 4 committee members need to see me in conclusion of the caucus so that I may sign and give you a certificate of election. You will need to present this certificate to the committee clerk in order to be seated at the committee meeting. Party rules give delegates, alternates, and Republicans, elected officials, the right to attend meetings of all committees. Any delegate or Republican elected official may give oral or written testimony. Alternates may be given permission to testify by individual committees if time permits. Just so you know, the permanent committees are scheduled to meet as follows. Platform and resolutions will be at 7 p.m. in room 108. Rules will meet at 8 p.m. in room 100. Credentials will meet at 8 p.m. in room 102. Nominations committee will meet tomorrow at 12 p.m. noon in room 103. Are there any other announcements?
Madam Chairman, Kirk Overby, Travis County. I have a request for information.
Yes, sir.
Did we finish before 7 o'clock?
Yes. We're not done yet. I have a couple of quick announcements I need to make. First off, we will start at 8 a.m., so please make sure that we are going to do the same process tomorrow, so try and be here a little bit early so they can get your name signed, because no matter what, we are starting at 8 a.m. And the other thing is, if the way the platform works, and Randy, you may have to help me, or David can, the way they're going to do it this time, we're going to have the platform committee's going to meet tonight from 7 to, TJ said probably midnight. They're going to print the platform so that everybody can actually see it tomorrow. You can read through it. And I think it's by 5 o'clock tomorrow, you actually, 6 p.m., if you want to make an amendment or add something to the platform, you actually need to take 3 copies of that to the information kiosk. And what the reasoning for doing this is, that way they can scan it or they can type it in so that the change that's being requested will actually be able to be shown to the whole body. So they're trying to make it more transparent. So if you want to do that, make sure that you get that to the information kiosk by room 109 by 6 p.m. tomorrow night. Any other announcements? If not, I will see everybody at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning in this room. This caucus is adjourned.